Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well guys, you caught me in the middle of this segment here, and I thought about how people go to put a Mustang together, or any kind of hot rod, and is it a dream or is it a nightmare? When you have them somewhat finished up, they're kind of a dream, even if you don't have them how you want, because this is actually a dream car of mine. And this is one we're putting together. That's kind of a dream car. That's my son's girlfriend that he's putting together for her. She's having a really exciting time learning about stuff doing it. And this is our friend's car that we put together for him. And they actually took this car out of the driveway into a shootout and went second round, or first runner-up, I believe, with it, something like that. They did real well with it first night out of the driveway. And it's our basic stuff, fellas. It's not anything spectacular. It's been sitting since they put it together, but it's got the same setup on it that we use on a lot of stuff. The weigh and intake, except we have the divider completely removed from this one. And it seems to like it. I don't know how it will be when it does numbers down the track, but the car pretty responsive. But it's a pretty good running car considering he got the engine dirt cheap and worked to deal with it. And this is my son's. And that's a trans they dropped off the other day for it. He has to change the input shaft on that. And this car right here, fellas, he got a really good deal on it. And he couldn't pass it up. But it had a Edelbrock heads on it and pretty good stuff. And of course it's filthy. He's working on it now. He actually redid a lot of stuff. This is all new, what he's doing here. He just cut the fender wells out and he's got to edge all that off. And then he's going to somewhat tube it, I guess. That's what we do to a few of them. And, but you know what's funny about this car here, fellas? We put this together. The engine had a crack in it, we found out. So he got this engine here for like $100. My other son found it for him. And we put it together with them heads on it, everything off the other engine, and it wouldn't run. We kept trying and trying, double-checked the firing order, double-checked everything, and then we had it running where it would be okay, and then it just wouldn't run right. It was backfiring, and I said, this is out of time. And we double-checked it, and double-checked it, and double-checked it. You guys know how that goes, I guess. So anyway, I got thinking about it, and this went on for a couple hours, and I said, listen, this thing's out of time. And wouldn't you know, I thought about an old school trick that we used to do back in the day where they swapped the firing orders over from a 289 firing order to a 351 firing order, which the late model 50s have a 351 firing order. I don't know if guys realize that. But anyhow, who would think, this has an Edelbrock cam in it, but who would think that Edelbrock would use the old firing order on a roller cam, hydraulic roller? That really threw me off. But anyway, my son looked it up. We put the firing order on it, tuned it in, and the thing runs fantastic. And he's just doing some new mods to it now. He puts his own spin on stuff. He does a lot of research on things to make sure he's trying his best to get what's going to suit him. And one thing he did get the other day that I liked, he bought a new steering wheel for it, and he just put this in where you can detach the wheel. It clicks on and off, and he bought a lot of new parts for this. But it takes time, fellas. But the reason I'm calling this segment Dream or Nightmare is because when you get them somewhat together, they start to be your dream. But when you wind up with all this, fellas, this becomes a nightmare. When you have to get rid of it and clean up after it, I mean, you wind up with all extra parts. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes you need them for something else that you purchase or a friend. But some of this stuff's just not worth keeping around. Like that. Now that's something we have to dispose of. Seen better days. This is off a truck that my son was drag racing. But still racing affiliated. And of course, 7.5. It's free, fellas, if you want it. Probably pull the axles out and junk it, because the axles still work in 8.8. But I guess I'd do this, fellas, because most guys don't bother putting behind the scenes stuff on, because they probably don't want to see the mess in their yard, probably number one. But I've wanted my channel to be straightforward with people trying to do stuff, and this is what you wind up with, guys, when you mess with a lot of different cars. And I mean, this is no time. This isn't like years. This is like months of this. I mean, some is off the truck that we did, but most of it is foxbody stuff. I mean, this is all stuff waiting to go back on the other cars. And one thing you fellas want to realize is that bees and also snakes can get in this. But this is why I call it dream or nightmare, fellas, because this is the other side of the coin. When you go to put something together, and even after it's together, it's one of them deals where it's just work keeping it together. Like this car here, I have a lot to do to it still, and between doing other things, it's just hard to come up with the time to do it all. But the other day, fellas, I was trying to get keepers off the head. I had no magnet, and I've had a couple guys tell me I should show you guys this trick. A lot of guys know these things, but a lot of people don't. This is just a magnet right here, and this is a regular screwdriver, old beat up screwdriver. But I needed the magnet, fellas, and didn't have it. So one of the little tricks you guys can do, if you ever need a magnetized screwdriver, or if you do what I do, I went to Harbor Freight to buy screwdrivers, and they wanted a whole lot of money for the magnetized ones. And then the nicer ones were less money, but yet they weren't magnetized. So I did what I always do. I bought the cheaper ones. But you can magnetize them yourself, fellas. Just any kind of magnet, you keep it around. Just put it on a magnet, speaker magnet. You can even buy a tray. Harbor Freight has a magnet in it, and then you have a magnetized screwdriver. A lot of guys don't know this. Some guys do, but it's just an old trick. So I thought I'd tell you guys this. Oh, and it stays magnetized, fellas. Once you do this, it usually stays like that. At least it used to. I don't know what kind of metal they're using now on these other screwdrivers, so don't get mad at me if you do it, and then you pick it up next time and say, that guy said that would work. And it doesn't, because that would be the reason. But I thought I'd show you that little trick. But anyway, guys, I want to get back on the car here. It's kind of been on the back burner. It's not fair. I call the car Sleepy. And I think I'm going to look for a new name for it, because the car is not sleeping. I am. It's me. It's just not getting the attention it needs. It still needs the same thing it needed 2 months ago. I got all excited. I was going to upgrade the fuel system. That still hasn't been done. You guys might have seen a video I started about that. And the car's kind of been setting. But I do want to get going on it. And another thing, fellas, I wanted to do a video about how things happen. I was going to paint this car this year. I made up my mind this car was getting painted. So right when I was taking and starting to sand it down again. What do you guys think happened? Alright, I'll show you what happened. We took it to the track, and it started raining. My son got back before I got back, and he was trying to get the car off. And it's a trick getting it off the trailer. We're kind of limited on space with it. And you guys probably won't be able to see this on video, but just the time I made up my mind I was going to get this car painted, needless to say, it pushed the door in down here, fellas. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it kinked my door. Being flat black like it is in primer, it doesn't really grab you and show up, but it's just one of them deals, fellas, to put you back again where they just push you back where you started a lot of times. And that's what happens when you're building something, fellas. That's why I'm bringing some of these things to your attention. Because not everybody's already built a car that watches this channel. I try to do this from the point of view that somebody that's going to be building something or needs information. I've had a few people ask me about certain things, and I want this channel to be for people that really need to know stuff that we can help them out with, not guys who already know things. You guys that know stuff have already been through this, and you're probably laughing about what I'm saying because you probably already experienced it or are experiencing it. Because it usually is a circle. It's usually like when you have something like this here, you're never going to be content, fellas. If you are, then you're at probably a 1 out of 100, and I bless you for that, because it's hard to stay where you're content with a car, because you usually do two things: you get bored, or you start spending money on it. So guys either sell them or keep putting money into them. It usually goes one or the other ways. But most of the guys that get rid of them are usually sorry, especially if they kind of like the car now. So if you guys are out there that have anything and you're thinking, I'm getting older, I should sell this car, everybody I know has been sorry that's done that. Unless you're in a position where you have to do that, don't do it, fellas. Unless you're just tired of it and you want to get out of the sport and you know for sure that's what you want. That's what I try to do, guys. I try to make this channel where it's a little bit different. It's trying to give you guys a little bit of information, behind the scenes stuff, keeping it real. And that's about as real as it gets, getting rid of this stuff. Getting the junkyard to come pick it up, or a scrap guy, or us taking it to the junkyard. I don't really care as long as it gets out of here. And when you're working full-time, fellas, this stuff, it's hard when you do that. I don't probably have to tell you guys that. I mean, it's not fun and games all the time. It's fun and games when you have a car all done, and then you have nothing to do but tune it and keep it running. That's when it becomes fun. But guys, like I said, I make this video and help somebody out that maybe not thinking about this stuff, especially if you're in a place where you're not allowed to have stuff around your yard and there's an ordinance, and it adds up quick, fellas. I mean, if you take a K-member out and you don't have a way of getting rid of it right away, I mean, this car has only been here a couple months already, and you know, it just takes time. And I'm just making people aware of that too. So I hope I'm helping somebody by making this video right here. But anyway, guys, thank you very much again for checking this channel out, and I appreciate all you new subscribers coming on. And if you need to know anything about any specific thing that you've seen me post, I'll surely try to answer these questions that you guys have been giving me. A couple guys snuck up on me. I didn't see the post, and I'm sorry about that. But I surely always am going to try to stay true to my word and answer anything you guys need to know, especially if I know the answer to it. Alright, fellas, have a good night, guys, and thanks again.